Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gauda Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Nitai Gauda Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Nitai Gauda Hare Bala. Jayam Vishnupad Paramangsa Sri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 38 and 39, which finishes the chapter, and then we'll go to the beginning, number 1 of the 23rd chapter. So this morning we can, I believe it's on the board there, those who want to follow. Ya Prishto Munibi Praha, Ya Prishto Munibi Praha, Dharmam Nana Vidan Shubhan, Dharmam Nana Vidan Shubhan, Nrinam Vana Shamanam Cha, Nrinam Vana Shamanam Cha, Sarva Bhuta Hita Sada, Sarva Bhuta Hita Sada, Ya Prishto Munibi Praha, Ya Prishto Munibi Praha, Dharman Nana Vidan Shubhan, Nrinam Vana Shamanam Cha, Sarva Bhuta Hita Sada. Someone else? Nrinam Vana Shamanam Cha, Sarva Bhuta Hita Sada. Word for word. Ya, who? Prishta, being questioned. Munibi, by the sages. Praha, spoke. Dharman, the duties. Nanavidan, many varieties. Subhan, auspicious. Nrinam, of human society. Vana ashramanam, of the 4 varnas and ashramas. Cha, and sarvabhuta, for all living beings. Hita, who does welfare. Sada, always. Translation. In reply to questions asked by certain sages, he, Swayambhuva Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and the different varnas and ashramas. We'll read the text 39 to finish the chapter. Etatta adirajasya manas charitam adbhutam vanitam varaniyasya tat apatyodayam shrinu. Translation. I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter Devahuti. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 22nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So we've now, as Maitreya is speaking here, and he's saying, I've given the description of Swayambhuva Manu. Yesterday we were describing, as the previous verses were stating in the throughout this chapter, the glorious life of Swayambhuva Manu, and he was a very high position Manu, the first Manu in this day of Brahma, Swayambhuva Manu, and he is like overseeing, he is one of the governors of the universe in the higher planetary systems. And as mentioned here, that he is teaching all sorts of giving all sorts of instructions according to different varnas and different ashrams and so on and so forth. Here, the word Nana Vidhan means many varieties of instructions he gave. They are all Shubhan. Shubha means all very auspicious, and especially for the human society. The varnas and ashramas, of course, were given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chatu Vanyamara Shrishtam Guna Kami Vibhaka Satasikataramapiam Vidyakataramavyam. That Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, I am the creator of the varna and ashram, because there are different qualities of the men, different nature, according under the modes of nature, sattva guna, rajaguna and tamaguna, and mix of the modes. So there are different natures, and so people can live in the world in relatively peaceful, and if they follow the system of the varna and the ashrama. So this has been since ancient times, and Swayambhuva Manu is one of the teachers. There are many teachers of the principles of varna ashram, but he gives so many teachings, Manu Samhita and Varnashrama, and so many different varieties of teachings. But and he had many duties, family. The two sons, Maharaj Priyavrata, Maharaj Uttanapada, were his sons. One daughter, Devahuti. He was married to the good wife. I forget her name. Satarupa. Satarupa was his good wife, and they were very great devotees also. And in the last stages, of course, throughout the whole life, he was doing his duties, and we were speaking yesterday, but simultaneously, he was engaged in his spiritual activities. This is the perfection, that you do simultaneously your duties in life, and simultaneously you do your spiritual activities. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. This is the recommendation I was describing yesterday. Svadharma. What is your prescribed duties, the dharma, the svadharma, particular to the man, and the sanatana dharma. Sanatana dharma means the eternal activities of the dharma, the spiritual activities, they are eternal. Other ones can change, but the sanatana dharma, so both have to go together while living in the world. And then ultimately, the svadharma goes, and the sanatana dharma is there, the eternal spiritual activity. And this is what Swayambhuva Manu, in the end of his life, he was like that. And it becomes natural to do because throughout the whole life he was practicing. It's not so easy if one is just living solely materialistic life, then all of a sudden he tries to do the spiritual life. It's possible, but it's more difficult because so many years have been spent in the material life. All of a sudden one has to switch to the spiritual life. He's still having the thoughts, he's still attached to the activities, and then has to detach and go to the spiritual. It's a bit more difficult. So if one is practicing the whole life and has good training in the young years, so just like in the Varna ashram, there's brahmachari ashram. So especially the higher orders, they would get the training of the brahmachari ashram, meaning a lot of study under the direction of the guru, and some tapasya and spiritual activities. So then when one gets that training, one can go into the grihastha, and one remains nicely fixed because of that training for so many years. One remembers all those things, and then in your life you're doing your duties grihastha, and simultaneously you want to come to the duty and take the darshan then, and simultaneously throughout your whole life you can practice your spiritual activities. So this is very much recommended by all the great acharyas all the sadhus, gurus, by the Shastra. This is very much recommended. So Swayambhuva Manu was ideal, not so common, especially in the Kali Yuga. Who knows of the spiritual activities practically? But he was following both. So therefore, at the end of his life, it was more easy because already he was following for so long. As I said, doing his material duties, but spiritual activities also. So it was easy for him just to go fully on the spiritual. So this is very much recommended. This style of living is very much recommended. Then very easily and naturally. And then that is the perfection. The perfection is not on the material side. That is temporary. The perfection is on the spiritual. That is eternal. That Lord Rishabh tells his sons, Nayam deho bhajam niloke kastan kamanate vibhujyame tapo divyam putrakena sat sudyat jasmat brahma sokyam tvanantam. That he says that he told his sons that, there are many engaged in material activity, the gratification of the senses. Even the animals are doing that, and they are doing their tapasya, austerity, to achieve that. But why you should just engage in those activities? Better to engage, if you're going to do some tapasya, better to do it for the Brahma Sokyam. Brahma Sokyam. Brahma Sokyam means the bliss of the Brahman, of the spiritual. Tvanantam. Why? Because that is eternal. Tvanantam, unlimited, eternal. Tvanantam. Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. This is what Lord Rishabh told his sons. Now, don't just do the material activity. That is done by animals. Even the animal. You have to do your activities, but if you're just concentrating like that, then because there's a beginning and end to that. But Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. Concentrate on the spiritual activities. It continues forever. So Swayambhuva Manu, he did like that. And he attained perfection. This is the transcendental stage. He is not disturbed by the distresses in life. His consciousness is fixed. We read all this yesterday. And so this was being spoken, the whole history of Swayambhuva Manu. And now we'll go to this first verse. Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Pratishte Sadvi Patim Ingati Kovida Nityam Paya Charat Pritya Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhum. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. So now we're coming to the next chapter, and this is now already Swayambhuva Manu and his wife Satarupa. We heard yesterday, I was describing, that Narad Muni had spoken to Devahuti about Kardama Muni. Already, because Kardama Muni was doing tapasya in the forest, he was meditating on the Supreme Lord. The Lord appeared to him and told him that Lord Brahma, he wants to increase the population, so you're in his line, and it is good that you thought that now you should go into the married life and have the children. And so I know your desires, so you will marry Devahuti. She's a very good girl. And her parents are Swayambhuva Manu and Queen Satarupa. They are a very aristocratic family. And they will come here. And they will, say that we have a very nice daughter. And so I'm arranging everything through all these different ways. And so you will get married to Devahuti. So Kardama Muni accepted. And of course, Krishna knew his desire also that he wanted. So instead of because people these days, who is going to be your partner? This could take many years of research and so on. And you have to do the calculation. Generally, you have to do the astrological calculation. Who is going to be the good partner for you? So by higher authority, they are blessing him that this can be your wife. So he just accepted. Why go to so much problem trying to do everything myself when the higher authorities, they're recommending. She is a good girl. She is a good girl, and very high parents are devotees. And now they've gone. The husband and wife have retired. They've gone away from the kingdom. He's handed to Uttanapada. Priyavrata was also doing some tapasya. So the younger brother took over. But then after Uttanapada passed away, then the older brother was brought back, Priyavrata, to take over. So now they had already come with Devahuti to meet Kadama Muni before they had retired. Swayambhuva Manu and his wife Satarupa, Devahuti was there, and so they came. And Kadama Muni stood up to greet them, and he said, "I accept your daughter as my wife." And so she adopted, as I was saying yesterday, she adopted his lifestyle. And here we'll read the purport. The specific example of Bhavani is very significant. Bhavani means the wife of Bhava or Lord Shiva. Bhavani or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas, selected Lord Shiva, who appears to be just like a beggar, as her husband. In spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not even have a house, but was sitting underneath the trees and passing his time in meditation. Although Bhavani was the daughter of a very great king, she used to serve Lord Shiva just like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahuti was the daughter of an emperor, Swayambhuva Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kadama Muni as her husband. She served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here as Sattvi, which means a chaste, faithful wife. Here, her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is the ideal husband, not in the sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yata Sambhu. Sambhu, or Lord Shiva, is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Rama and chants Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is called the Ramai Swami Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Shiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good a Vaishnava as he. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of householder's life. So a lot of good points made here by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. I gave a little bit of explanation yesterday in the class about the history of Lord Shiva and Parvati, and before that his wife Sati, how Lord Shiva came to marry Sati. And here the word Bhavani. Now Lord Shiva, in my studies of Lord Shiva over many years, and here also the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya or the Rudra Sampradaya is mentioned. There's one Sampradaya, a line of the Vaishnavas coming from Lord Shiva or Rudra. And another one is from Brahma Madhva Gauriya. Our line is from Brahma. And Vyasadeva and Madhva Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our line. Another one is from Lakshmi, Sri Sampradaya, from Lakshmi Devi. She is the originator. Another one is Kumara Sampradaya, from the four Kumaras. Each one of them has the origin. Kumara heard from Lord Hansa. Lakshmi Devi gave instruction. Lord Shiva, he heard apparently from Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. He had narration and he initiated a line of knowledge after hearing from Vishnu. I haven't located that conversation between Lord Shiva and Vishnu. I haven't seen it yet. It's probably somewhere. But so he has a line, and now Lord Shiva is a very, very amazing personality. Now, in my study of Lord Shiva over many years, as I mentioned, that he is existing beyond this world. He is existing in this world. He is existing beyond the border of this world and the spiritual world in Maheshdam, and he is existing in the Vaikuntha also, in three simultaneous, or even four simultaneous places. And it is said that there's a description in the Brahma Samhita and other Shastras that Lord Vishnu has a Vaikuntha Loka in the Vaikuntha abode of the spiritual world, and there he has a four-handed form, all white. There's a good description in Brahma Samhita, other Shastras, of Lord Shiva's form in the spiritual world of Vaikuntha as all white. Then he expands himself to come in each universe. Now, that Lord Shiva in the Vaikuntha is called the Sadashiva, original Shiva. Sadashiva. He is known Sadashiva. It was that Sadashiva that combined with Mahavishnu. There's one story like that I can briefly mention, that who came as Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya, in the Panchatattva we have Lord Chaitanya, we have Lord Nityananda, and we have Advaita. We have Gadadhar, we have Srivas. They are called Panchatattva. They came with Lord Chaitanya. 5 absolute truths, 5 different aspects of the absolute truth. And so that Advaita Acharya is a combination of Sadashiva and Mahavishnu combined. That Sadashiva was concerned about the people of the world, how they will get liberty. He was crying for that, and then he went to pray to Mahavishnu, and then they combined together to become Advaita Acharya. They descended to the world. This is one story. That Sadashiva is that Shiva of the Vaikuntha. So then there's another Lord Shiva existing beyond. Now this is very much described in Brahma Samhita. There's Haridam. This will be shown in our TOVP in Mayapur. We're building that big temple, and in the planetarium, also in the main building, they'll show all the different levels. Haridam, the Vaikuntha. Of course, there's Krishna Dham in the Krishna, where Krishna lives. There's a Krishna Loka. There's the highest position, and Haridam and the Vaikuntha, all the lokas of the Vaikuntha. That is Haridam. Then we have Mahesh Dham, and we have Devi Dham. Devi Dham is the consort of Lord Shiva, or the Adi Shakti, Mahashakti. That is all this realm, and all the universes. Many universes. We are one universe. There are so many unlimited universes. All the universes. Devi Dham, she is in control. That is her energy. That is called Devi Dham. Mahesh Dham is between Devi Dham and Haridam. Now it is mentioned, it is situated above this world. There are layers of material elements, earth layer, water layer, like that. And in one of those layers is Lord Shiva. He is known as Mahesh. Interestingly enough, there's one realm there in Mahesh Dham that there also he is known as Mahesh, Maheshwar, or also he is known as Sadashiva there also. Expansion of original Sadashiva, he is known as Sadashiva. And in the Mahakala Dham, in one area there is totally dark. It's called Mahakala. Dark, it is said to be the destination of the Nirvisesha Sunyavadi, the Sunyavadis, those who are trying to go to the void, to the darkness. It is said they go there, to the Mahakala Dham of the Mahesh Dham of Lord Shiva. See, there's one area. So there's nice description there in Brahma Samhita. So Lord Shiva lives there. Then there's Kailash Dham. Another Lord Shiva comes in this world, and there in the Kailash, in the top of the Himalayas, you can go there. Some devotees have been there to the Kedarnath, the Kailash. But of course there's the Kedarnath you can see, and there's Kailash Dham that you can't see. Invisible, that is the abode of Lord Shiva. We read one time how Arjuna and Krishna went to see Lord Shiva before the battle of the Kurukshetra. Krishna went to Arjuna in the battle of the Kurukshetra. Actually, this came as like a dream, a little bit like a dream, that he said that now is Bhishma and Drona, they are fighting. You may have to use your Pasupatra weapon that Lord Shiva granted you when you were in the heavens, but you don't know how to use that thing. And so you have to get his blessings to be able to use. And Krishna and Arjuna went to see Lord Shiva in Kailash. And he said that, yes, that is there in one lake. And you have to go and bring it. And he showed them how to chant the mantra and be able to use the Pashupatra. So Arjuna had that weapon. And he used that weapon to kill Jayadratha. There's a whole story there in Mahabharata you can read. So that is Shiva. So the 3 locations of Lord Shiva. Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha, all white form, 4 arms. Then Mahesh Dham, in between Devi Dham and Hari Dham, in one of the elements beyond this material world, Lord Shiva is existing there. Then Kailash Dham, he's existing in this world. 3 locations. And sometimes he comes and manifests in different ways in this world and shows himself. And here it is said that he is always chanting, Rama, 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 Rama. What is that nice song we always used to sing? Brahma Bole, Chaturmukhe, Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Mahadeva, Panchamukhe, Rama, Rama, Hari Hari. In the beginning days when we were young, Prabhupada taught us this, but we always used to sing this. Brahma Bole, Chaturmukhe. Brahma with his 4 heads, he likes to chant Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. And Rama, Mahadeva, is another name of Shiva. Mahadeva, with 5 heads. Now, 5 heads, sometimes Lord Shiva, especially when he's expanded as a Rudra, he is manifesting 5 heads, and with these 5 heads, he likes to chant Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari. Prabhupada actually mentions here. Rama, Rama. So Lord Shiva very much likes to worship Lord Rama. It's mentioned in many places that Lord Rama, his favorite incarnation of the Lord, is Lord Rama. So Lord Shiva, he likes to chant Rama, Rama. Of course, Lord Ram is worshipping Lord Shiva. We know in Rameshwaram he made a lingam like that when he came back from Lanka. He made a lingam of Lord Shiva and like that. So he is worshipping Shiva and Shiva is worshipping him. But we know also that Lord Shiva very much likes to worship Krishna. And he is there in the protector of the holy Dham. When you go to Vrindavan, Mathura Dham, he is the Maheshwara, he is the protector in Mathura. There's 4 gateways, in the 4 directions, there's a lingam of Lord Shiva. And it is said in our Vaishnava literatures, many of our acharyas have said, the Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, have mentioned that when one comes to the Vrindavan, before he comes, he has to go to the Mathura and take permission from Lord Shiva. He is there in the 4 directions to go into Vrindavan. So Lord Shiva is there. There are many Shiva lingams and Shiva deity in Vrindavan. So Lord Shiva is very much affectionate to Krishna also. But he's very popularly known as worshipping Lord Ram. But in a more subtle way, in a more intimate way, he is also worshipping Lord Krishna. And he is the protector. And then in Vrindavan also there's one story, and you probably heard a story that how Lord Shiva he saw the Rasa Leela. Krishna was dancing with Radha and all the gopis, and he wanted to enter in. And so he came, but he was stopped by Yoga. You can't come in. The Rasa Leela is only for the female gopi forms. So then he was just waiting outside. And then he started to meditate and worship Radharani. He started to worship. So Radha was very pleased. She sent Lalita. She sent Lalita to Lord Shiva and said that, you can't, this Rasa Leela is in the mood of the Gopi Bhava. And only those who are gopis in the Gopi Bhava mood, just like Radharani, she is the topmost Gopi Bhava, the love of the gopis for Krishna. And only those can come in the Rasa Leela and participate in this pastime. So if you want to come, you have to change into the gopis. And she told him, you go to the Jamuna and you take a bath there. And then when he went like that, he came out, he had the body of the gopi. So then he was brought inside to the area of the Rasa Leela, that Rasa Leela area. You can go when you go on the Parakam, there's Seva Kunj area, Bamsi Bhat tree, where Krishna performed Rasa Leela. There's different places where Krishna performed Rasa Leela, but just like I was giving a class on the Krishna Rasa Yatra, and I was telling a little bit about this Bamsi Bhat tree and everything like that. So near the Seva Kunj area. Seva Kunj area also, sometimes it's said, is also there. Rasa Leela dance. So he wanted to go in, but then he came in in the body of the gopi, but Krishna recognized who he was. He said, oh, this is a Gopesh. He actually named Gopeshwara Shiva. He is Shiva, he come in the body of he is not truly Gopi. So you have to go out. So Lord Shiva, he bowed down and he said, I will protect this dance from any intrusion, from any unauthorized personality. There's one story that I heard from Dina Bandhu. Dina Bandhu, my godbrother, he lived in Vrindavan many years. He knows all the stories. And he said that one time, why Kamsa didn't come and kill Krishna directly? Because one time he came to kill Krishna as a baby. He found out he was there and he came to kill. But then Yogamaya, she stopped him, said, you can't come in here. And who are you? I'm King Kamsa. And why have you come? Tell me the truth. I've come to kill Krishna. You can't. And she threw him in one kund. You can't come here. And when he came out, he had the body of the gopi. So now you've got the body of the gopi. Everyone here, they're all gopis and they have to do some seva. So you know any seva? And I don't know any seva as a gopi. I'm a king. No, now you're a gopi. And so you have to learn from the other gopis to do some seva. So then she took him there. And then the other gopis, what do you know? I don't know anything. Well, you can help us make the cow dung patty. We're making the cow dung patty. So they say you get the cow dung, you mix it with the water. They showed him. But he made too runny. It's too wet. No good. You take it and then you stick it on the side of the wall. This is how you make it. It's a very good thing. So he was making too wet. They were always falling down from the wall. No, this is no good. They threw him back to, you're no good. And so then Yogamaya again threw him back in the kund, and then he came back king. So, and then she said, don't come back here again. If you ever come back here again, I'll kill you. So then that's why Kamsa, he never went there. He sent his asuras there, but he never went. Anyway, just a story in passing. And anyway, so, but Shiva is very intimately associated with the Leela of Krishna. He's very much, he loves Ram. And he loves Krishna. He's always thinking of it. So many stories of Lord Shiva in Vrindavan. So he is always chanting Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here, now, Prabhupada actually mentions that Devahuti was such a nice wife. When she married Kadama Muni, she adopted that lifestyle that he was just a very ascetic yogi, living very poorly, but he was a great high rishi. But she went to his life, just as Bhavani went to the lifestyle of Lord Shiva. Now apparently Kadama had a little hut. Lord Shiva, he was just under the trees. So he was Bhavani, who was Sati in the previous incarnation. She was the wife of, the daughter of Daksha, a big king, chief Prajapati, living like princess. She was a princess. But she adopted the life of Lord Shiva. And she's known as Bhavani. Now here, one of the names, Lord Shiva has many names. And one of the names you read in the third canto, Lord Brahma, when he was doing the creation, he asked the Kumaras, created the Kumara, asked them to help populate. They didn't refuse. We want to be brahmachari. So he was a little bit agitated. From between his eyebrows came the Lord Shiva, or Rudra, a mix of blue and red colour. And he was named Rudra because he was crying. And he said that he asked him to help populate your names, and these will be your wives. These will be the Rudranis. Rudra means, when he came here, he cried. Initially he cried. And that's why he was given the name Rudra, one who cries. There's one explanation of it. There's many explanations of Rudra. But so he was creating, and he created many expansions of the Rudra. Some say 11 expansions, and one of the names is Bhava. Of the Rudra is Bhava. Bhava means, of course, we know in our Vaishnava tradition, Bhava means love of God, or emotion. So also, Lord Shiva, that name is Bhava. And so Bhava, and so she is the wife of Bhava, one of the names of Lord Shiva. He is also known, Prabhupada refers also to Shambhu, especially mentioned in the Brahma Samhita, Shambhu, or Shambhu means the origin. Shambhu means also emotion, love. the origin of love is connected to Shankara. Lord Shiva is sometimes known as Shankara or Shambhu, many names, Bhava. So therefore, his wife Shati, who came back as Parvati, she is known as Bhavani, and she served Lord Shiva very nicely. So Lord Shiva, as I said, he is his sampradaya. We recognize there are 4 Vaishnav sampradayas, those who are worshipping Lord Vishnu, the Sri Sampradaya under Lakshmi, the Brahma Sampradaya under Lord Brahma. We have the Kumara Sampradaya under the Kumaras who heard from Lord Hamsa. We have the Shiva Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and he was now one of the big acharyas of the Rudra Sampradaya is the Vishnu Swami. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gives a good explanation. He said actually there were 3 Vishnu Swamis. It's very interesting. There's like a title. And they were, I think that the first one was called, he lived in a few thousand years ago. He lived, and he was the son of a priest of one king in the South India. I forget his name now, Devadatta, or maybe his name was like. And then later on he took sannyas and he took the name Vishnu Swami. And he was known as Adi Vishnu Swami, the original Vishnu Swami. He took the sannyas. His father was a priest of the king, very learned pandit, and he taught his son all the different shastras, everything. So he was very learned, and he took sannyas at a fairly young age, and it was he who started the Tridandi sannyas. Tridandi sannyas means that all body, mind, and words worshippers of the Lord, and the Astatarasata. Astatarasata means the 108 names of the sannyas. He started that. It came from Adi Vishnu Swami. He started the 108 names, and it is said that Shankaracharya, he took, because later on there was a little bit of a split in that sampradaya. After the second Vishnu Swami, who came in about the 8th century, after that there was a little bit of a split. One went more on the Sankara side, the impersonal side, and the other one went more on the worship of Vishnu side. So after that, Shankara chose, out of the 108, he chose 10 names. So in the Shankara Sampradaya, they have 10 names for the sannyasis. 10 names. But it came from the 108 of the original. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation. And then there was another Vishnu Swami who came the 3rd time, and he's in that Sampradaya. He was also known as Vishnu Swami. He came more the 12th century. These acharyas revived the Sampradaya. Sometimes the line goes and then it dies a little bit out, and then some big acharya comes, revives it. So this all from Lord Shiva, the line of Lord Shiva. And so he revived it again in the 12th century, and then later on one famous acharya, Ballabhacharya, who met Lord Chaitanya, he has come in that line of the Adi Vishnu Swami. Ballabhacharya is called the Ballabha sect. Pushti-marg, very famous around the Vrindavan, Govardhan area. Pushti-marg, they are worshippers of Radha and Krishna, and young Radha and Krishna. And they worship Bal Krishna, baby Krishna. Pushti-marg. Pretty much the Rudra Sampradaya is not very active these days, but Pushti-marg is a little bit active. Pushti-marg. So these are Prabhupada. Why I'm saying all these, are quite technical class today, but because Prabhupada mentions here about the Vishnu Swami, the Acharya in the Rudra Sampradaya, and Bhavani and Shambhu, and so on and so forth. So here we go back to the point that's made here, that how Devahuti emulated Bhavani. So the example of Bhavani being such a loyal wife and trying to satisfy her husband in all regards, and then that husband trying to satisfy the wife, is ideal Vedic grihastha situation. And Prabhupada goes so far as to say it is very rare for a wife to be like that, is very rare. To be like Bhavani or to be like Devahuti, very, very rare. But nevertheless, I've heard from our Vaishnava astrologers that when someone does the calculation, if someone wants to get married, they do the chart of the prospective the husband and wife and see what is the compatibility there according to the calculation. And so if you get some percentage is good, if you get lower it's not so good, and so on. But they say that Lord Shiva and Parvati have the highest percentage of compatibility. If one can get close to that percentage, that's very good. Then yes, marry this girl, marry this boy. That's very good. But it said Lord Shiva and Parvati have the highest percentage of compatibility. They're very high percentage. They're very rare. But Prabhupada goes on to say this is the ideal. At least the girls, they would worship. Here it's mentioned the girls, the unmarried girls, would worship Lord Shiva. Sometimes we read about where they worship Katyayani to get the gopis will worship Katyayani to get Krishna as their husband. So they worship the demigoddesses, or they worship Lord Shiva to get a husband like him. And Prabhupada emphasizes here now, not like they're not praying just to get some husband who's very rich, got a lot of money, got a lot of assets, so they can also share. They're ideal girls. They're more on the devotional side, and so they want someone who's devotional like Lord Shiva. And then Devahudi married Kadama Muni, so he was also very devotional. So the girls, being very devotional and being very intelligent in that regard, they thought, let me marry a husband like that. Some other husband may give me this and that, the other thing, but these things ultimately are temporary. So these girls are very, very rare to find girls like that. But nevertheless, in the Shastra it's stated, this is the perfect example to follow. If someone can follow this example, this is the most perfect. So this is the... And not only that, on the final point, Prabhupada says that Bhavani serves Lord Shiva so nicely, and Devahudi serves Kadama Muni so nicely. And then when you serve someone, and when you get that association, you get the benefits of whatever benefits they have. You share the benefits. So if your husband is very advanced, or your wife is very advanced, if you're in that relationship, you get each other's benefits. Because they get the blessings, so on and so forth, and so you share that. Krishna is in everyone's heart; he knows everything, so you get the benefits of all that. So Prabhupada makes this point: a person becomes. Where does he say like that? The wife. Oh, that's the next verse. I'm reading from the next verse. Right, here it is. She shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. And so in the next few verses, very good verses also, Prabhupada gives nice commentary in this regard. All right, so I'll end the class. Has anyone got any questions or comments to ask in regard to... Yes, Prabhu.
Material enjoyment, but we hear that material enjoyment and Krishna consciousness go ill together. So how do you understand that?
It's a question of the attitude towards the comforts of material life. They're taking that thing as a service. Because Devahudi wanted to have children, he had to, Kadama Muni had to create that aerial mansion that flew everywhere. They were like a permanent holiday, just flying around in a big palace. And so he created by his mystic power, and he expanded himself 9 times. We'll read this in this chapter. So he gave her nice children. So he had to create an atmosphere which was conducive for that. But he was thinking all this is in the service because the children will grow up very nicely in Krishna consciousness. And Swayambhuva Manu created a nice situation. He was the king, so he had to have certain situations in material life to be able to do his duties. The kings have to gain respect. They have to have some prestige. They have to also helps them to get the respect of those who are following. So they have to create a nice situation for themselves. So they do it as a service, always thinking as a service. I'm doing these things, but they don't go to extreme. They're just what is necessary, But generally, that someone who has a different attitude is just trying to go fully without even thinking of the spiritual life. He's just enjoying that thing and going to extreme level. And if somehow or other there's disturbance to that, then he gets very angry, very upset. But someone who's devotee, he's doing that thing, he's got the material, but if something changes, he just continues with that. So it's a question of the attitude. So that things can be all right, but ultimately the material will be left behind and the spiritual will continue on. So you can have the material life and all these, and the devotee is thinking all these material facilities are given to me by the grace of Krishna. I said that yesterday in the class. He's thinking like that, whereas the materialist, by my activity, I'm working hard, making money, therefore I've got these things. But a devotee never thinks like that. He thinks that I'm working hard or I'm not working hard, I'm earning money, whatever. That is, everything is by the grace of Krishna. Some people work hard, don't get any money, lose everything. One devotee told me some years ago, he said, it was very funny. When I was young, I got married, and I was earning a living. And he said, now, after all these years, I had more money in the beginning than I have now. Now, I was more money then, now I have nothing. I don't know what happened, something. Yeah, so someone can work hard and make money, some people can work hard and not make money, And it's not dependent on your work, actually, because we see plenty of people working hard, they've got no money, go into debt. So what is that? That's the karma also. So then, but the materialist thinks that it's all me, I'm doing all these things. But the devotee never thinks like that. So it's a question of attitude, consciousness. So if one has to get the consciousness right, then they can be situated in any situation where they've had so much material opulence that to use everything for Krishna's service. Thank you. Very nice question. Any other? Yes. One last question. Yes.
Yes. Just a technical question, right? Just about Lord Shiva. You were talking about how the Mahesh Dham is one of in the elements, the universal egg. Where is the Viraj River? And we heard, what is the Viraj River?
The Viraj River is the causal ocean. It's described variously in different shastras. Some describe it as Prabhupada describes it in many places. He says it's the river that separates the material from the Brahman, and it's like but it's also described as the causal ocean which comes from the Lord. So it's like described as an ocean sometimes. Other times it's described as a river, but a huge river, and can be considered like an ocean. So that's the Viraj. That's the causal ocean. And it separates the material world from the spiritual world. So one has to, many times it's described that the Viraj, one has to cross the Viraj to go to the spiritual. But that's not so easy to do. If you're materialist, there's no way you can cross it. And that Viraj is vast. But when you become a devotee, that Viraj just reduces and one crosses it within a moment. We were reading at New Gokula about when Krishna came to visit someone. He came in the Daksha Yajna. He came, and when everything was restored, he came and he gave darshan, and he went back via the pathway to the Vaikuntha, which was crossed. I just noted that in that description, that particular section. He passed over the Viraj River. And so that is the causal ocean. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.